Morning everybody. So me and Dad are out doing some fencing today. So this is the day after we had a look at those lambs. So as you remember, that was like a really sunny day. Now you look at it, it's pretty, it was foggy before, it's still pretty foggy. And now it's just sort of an average day. So yeah, there goes our spring weather. So we're out in this paddock behind the wool shed and the machinery yard. So we were putting up fence posts yesterday. This is more of Dad's idea to split this paddock up and make like a, I'll turn this paddock into sort of half a laneway. So we've put fencing or posts up to that end assembly there with the white post. And it sort of follows the track around that splits this paddock in half up to the gate up there. And then we've also put, there's another end assembly up there that makes like a bit of a triangle around a gum tree with a heap of concrete and rubbish wire and a few old watering tanks and stuff that we're fencing off as well. And the way Dad sort of designed it is so that it sort of makes a bit of a funnel, so that if you bring the sheep or cattle down, you'll put them into that little paddock just on the other side of the track there, and then when you push them down, it'll like funnel them into this laneway that I'm standing on the track, and it'll make it easier to get them up into this yard area. So yeah, that's the idea of it anyway. So we've got to finish building some end assemblies and then start putting up the wiring and stuff. All the fence posts have been driven in and set up. It's just a matter of putting the wire on now. So you guys will probably know what we're doing if you've been watching the channel for a little while. We did a little bit of this stuff earlier this year. So I won't explain too much and just sort of let the video roll. Sitting on top of it.
There you go. Right there now. That's a good one. I found it. There's a little bucket in that tin box with some cripples in it. Thanks, mate. Crackers, what are you doing? Fencing guy.
Alright, so we're just sort of finishing up this end assembly at the moment. As you saw, we put the main, what's it called, the stay? Yeah, the stay post across between these two posts here. Then we've wrapped 3 times, I think, of plain wire around the top and bottom, which sort of clamps it all together. And then Dad strained it all with the strainers, and he's just putting a gripple on the 2 ends of the wire now so they don't come apart when he releases it. So basically the whole idea of putting the wire around the end assembly is it keeps tension across the 2 posts on the stay post, and sort of makes it like support the fence, because the fence, when it runs down there, will put a heap of pressure on this end post here and will drag it with the way that the fence is, and also helps with the gates hanging off it. It'll stop the gates going away as well, so it all sort of ties together. So yeah, that's pretty much how the end assembly sort of sets up, and then yeah, once we finish this we can start putting wire down to that other end assembly there. Were you doing the other end assemblies first or wiring?
Oh, we'll probably do what we're doing.
Yeah, so we'll go down there and make the other end assembly, how it needs to be done, and then yeah, wiring can be put between the 2. Alright, so we've made our way down to the next end assembly. So we were just up there at the gates that go into the yard. Yeah, so Dad just said we're going to do that one there, which there's an end assembly, then there's going to be a gate there, is there? Yeah. There's going to be a gate in between there and that other end assembly. Then behind me here is this like corner bit I was talking about, so there's all the rubbish and junk that Dad's trying to keep the animals out of. There'll be a gate to get in there for if we need to, I don't know, put stuff in there I suppose. And there's going to be an end assembly here on this corner, which will be like sort of 2, and a gate as well, is that right? Will there be a gate here too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there'll be a gate here as well, because that goes into, that used to be where the hay got stored. There used to be a hay shed and stuff in that area there, and it sort of leads into the plantation where those gum trees are. There's sheep in there currently. But yeah, you can see how this one's on an angle up to where the hay fencing is, where we done earlier in the year. So then that sort of funnels them in to this, in this section here they'll be in, they'll get funneled into the laneway here, because we're going to fence up all along this track and curves around up until that main laneway where the big slosh hole is that you guys will have seen. So yeah, that's sort of the idea, and this will just sort of be like handy for holding yards, is that right? For when we're got like all the mobs of sheep in and we're doing shearing or crutching or something, then we have like lots of areas to split them up into, so that you can like leave them in overnight or during the day, and not have to worry about trying to sort them all through the yards here where the shed is. that the recommended way to sharpen a pencil?
What?
Is that the recommended way to sharpen a pencil?
This is when you got nothing else.
Alright, well we came up to the wool shed because it's too wet. It started raining, so we had to cut our fencing short. So we're coming to the wool shed. So you guys probably remember that in their last sort of big sheep video, we were getting ready for crutching when we were drafting and drenching all of them. And then crutching got done, I wasn't here. So Dad and Shane did all that. And there's still crutchings and dags and stuff in the shed to be sorted through. So Dad's about to show me something or teach me something. And then, yeah, we'll sort out a little bit of wool, I guess. And while it's raining, at least, just so we get this done. And if it stops, we'll go back and keep fencing.
All you gotta do is pick out all the white, cleanish, end up with wool like that. A little bit of yellow in it won't really matter because it's crutchings. Keep any, not that it's going to be worth anything anyway, any bits of dag or heavy frib, like so that stuff, chuck out. There, stuff like that you can chuck it in there. It's a slow, mundane, bloody job. Probably won't do your back much good. Yeah, I'm not going to be fussing too much.
Oh well, so we're over here. Dad was just saying we're just sorting through this. So here's the stuff that's unsorted. Getting the cleanest or cleanish wool off of what we have and putting it into this stall here, and then that'll be,
Bin.
Oh, bin, stall, same thing. That'll be bagged differently to this stuff here, which is dirtier and has more dag and stain. Yeah. Up sorting through these crutchings that are on the table and the ones that are on the floor. What's left there is sort of the real rubbish. I don't know if it's up to Dad's standard, but I'll give you a quick look at the half okay wool. So this isn't like meant to be like, you know, 3A wool, which is sort of like your best. It's just from crutchings, obviously. So we're just salvaging some of the good wool off it because we can package that differently and you'll get better money for it. So you can see this stuff's sort of a bit cleaner. Not as much dag on it. So that's sort of the best stuff. Then this stuff on the table, a lot more dag, like actual crap in the wool. And then, you know, staining as well. So there probably is some wool you could probably pick off of that, but it sort of depends how much time you want to spend on it. But yeah, there's like a lot of matted stuff. Some of this wool's probably not too bad. But yeah, it's not like the best stuff. And then yeah, it's the same on all this stuff on the floor as well. So we need to go through it all and clean it all up. I don't know what'll happen. This stuff's really bad, but it looks like it's just all, yeah, heaps of crap dag that Dad must have swept there during the day. But it can all be, the majority of it I think can be sent away still. So I think the better wool will be, yeah, classed as something else, and I'm not sure what they'll make of it. But basically like crutchings and dag, wool with dag on it, it gets all washed and cleaned at the processing facility. And yeah, it'll get all cleaned up and you wouldn't know that it was covered in shit and piss. And yeah, they turn it into sort of not like nice stuff, like not like clothing or anything. I think it's like maybe carpet and like woolen matting. I think Dad said back in the day they used to use it for like turning into like blankets and socks for like the army. So like your woolen blankets, those real coarse woolen blankets. We refer to them as an itchy blanket. Yeah, Australians will know what I'm talking about there with the old itchy blanket. But yeah, we'll probably bag all this stuff up, and it can just, yeah, it'll be all separated. At least it'll tie the wool shed up, and it'll be ready to go. I don't know, probably after shearing, I guess. We might, even if we crutch again before shearing, we'll probably put it all with that. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what sort of happens though. But yeah, this will tie the wool shed up at least, because I think it's still raining. Yeah, it doesn't stop raining. Probably just finish in here, and don't know that we'll get any more fencing done. We might just try and get that stay post that we're on the third set of posts, so we might just try and finish them. Actually, no, fourth, sorry. So if we can at least get them back to get it set up, then we won't have to worry about it tomorrow. But hopefully the weather's better tomorrow, and we'll try and actually finish the fencing. Right, rain stopped, so Dad seems to be happy with my sorting, so we're just going to leave it as is for now, and we'll chuck it into bags another day, and we'll try and get out and finish these few stay posts and assemblies that we have to do. And yeah, we'll try and get that done. The sheep and lambs are making their way over to us because they reckon they saw the tractor come out, and they think that there might be grain involved, because we usually have the feed out cart behind it. So they think they might be going to get some grain. Fortunately for them, there's nothing to give them. Yeah, so we've only got this end assembly to do here, and then one to do up that other end, and then that's probably maybe what we'll do today. I don't know if we'll do any other end assemblies or not. So we're just finishing for the day. So we managed to get 3 end assemblies. Oh, the one at the far end done, those 2 there done. That one's half done. The one up there is done. And then up there, those gum trees is also done. And then we've half done that one at the end of these posts here. So we'll come back tomorrow and we'll wrap the wire around them, because Dad wants to go around the shape before it gets too miserable again. But yeah, then all we're gonna do is wrap wire around this one and that one up there, and then we'll be right to start running the plain wires and the cyclone, which hopefully Dad just wants to get this little bit of fence here done tomorrow, and then that like fence line along the track done as well. And he's not too concerned about this bit because he can put a gate here and that'll stop sheep wandering through into that part anyway, and then the funnel or his fencing will be sort of worked out, and then this paddock will be split into 2. So yeah, we'll be back in the morning, and we'll continue on, and hopefully the weather is got the sun out like this. As soon as we finish, the sun starts coming out. Typical. We'll see you in the morning. Good afternoon everybody, back again. You were just saying we were just moving the big cattle feeder. Then Mum and Dad are going to put it out where the cattle are tomorrow, so we just moved into the yards. It was out in the paddock they were in, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. So we'll walk back up to the fencing trailer. I don't know how much we'll get done today actually. It's late afternoon, serviced me ute this morning, so by the time I'd done that, Dad went and picked up a bit more wire stuff, and then we did the cattle stuff. Now it's like nearly 2 o'clock, so don't know if we'll just get these end assemblies finished or if we'll actually put any wire out, but we'll see what happens. You gotta be kidding me. Like 5 meters to go. Runs out. Dad won't be impressed. No.
I'll take that. Does it run out this side or the other side?
I ran out like a metre or so before that front post. Alrighty, so as you would have seen, we got the roll of wire just this end assembly in front of it. We need to tie to that post at the back there. So that's unfortunate, as Dad said, and like Maxwell Smart would say, we missed it by that much. So he's tied up the wiring at the other end assembly. So it's what we're gonna have to do now is put in another section of cyclone just to get us to the end of here, and then we'll wrap it all. Well, we won't wrap it up. We'll tie the 2 sections together and then tension it, and then we'll tie it to the end assembly and then staple the cyclone to the second post on each side, and then we'll twitch the cyclone to all the steel posts, and then yeah, we'll have to run plain wires for it as well. But you've seen us do this stuff before, and if you're new to the channel, there's plenty of fencing videos you can jump back and look at. I don't want to bore everybody again with fencing. It's not the most exciting job on the farm, but it is an important one, and we have been doing a lot of it over the last few years. This is sort of our last sort of section in the middle of the farm that we're sort of doing. Front paddock needs to be re-fenced, and we still need to do that back paddock where we bulldoze all the rocks and stuff. But whether or not that happens, I don't know. Also, the bulldozer left. It had to go, so we never got to do it anymore. Dad's work needed it back, and apparently they're rebuilding the whole thing. Pulled it all apart and they're going to rebuild the whole thing, so getting a new lease on life. Alright, we'll show you this. We're joining the 2 bits of cyclone together. Dad's joining them both ends with gripples, so I'll show you what they look like once he's got this one together.
This is a cheat way of doing it.
Yeah, you can tie the ends together, but we're using these, and they're called a gripple. And what? Grip. Yeah, because they grip. But it's probably hard to see, but inside there's like a little, it's almost like a spring-loaded roller in each hole. So wire can go in one way, but you can't pull it back out. So you can only feed it on one way, and because there's 2 holes, obviously join 2 bits of wire together. There's no, I don't think there's a diagram of how they work.
No, not the guts of it.
I might try and find one and I'll put it up so you can sort of see what the internals look like. But yeah, basically like grip each end of the wire, and you can pull it tight and it won't slip off, and you can take them back off. You just got to cut the wire on each side and then push them the way they go in out, basically, if that makes sense.
You put your wire in through that big hole there and it slides along. You can keep going that way as long as you want, but then you can't pull it back that way. So then you got your opposite bit of wire. This is coming from a fencing dummy too, so professionals will probably laugh at what I'm saying I'm showing you. You put that in there like that, and then you can't go that way with it, and you can't go that way with it. It saves, it's quicker than tying off knots and whatever, although professional dudes who haven't got arthritis and old fingers, they'd whip a couple of knots up there like there was no tomorrow.
You can tension on these too still? Yeah.
Strain them.
Yeah, like strain the wiring still with the gripples?
Yeah. And if you want to, if your fence becomes slack, you've got a special tool that goes on there like a wire strainer, and you can straighten them, tighten them up as well. So real fencers probably don't use them, but I'm not a real fencer.
Oh, saves time, so less mucking around. And
they're a good quick fix. If your fence breaks and you don't have to, if you haven't got any tools with you at the time, but you might have a pocket full of gripples, which everyone does, you can just pull it together a bit without a lot of mucking around. Was that all, was it?
Yeah, it was all the new one. So Dad will finish putting these two ends of cyclone together, and then we'll get ready to strain it all up and get it up along the fence post. Angus. Happy with the tautness of the wire?
Oh, I see.
It's hitting on this staple now, so. Alright, well Dad just said yeah, that's as tight as what he thinks it needs to be, so he'll just wrap it around that post at the end, and I'll staple this post onto sub the wire to that post, and I'll do the same up the other end. And then I suppose we'll twitch the wire to each post as well. And yeah. Looks like the ewes and lambs have come out to inspect our work. So we're just about finished. Dad's going to get ready to check go around the shape on the bike. So we strung up the cyclone. Just finished twitching it all onto the posts. So using little twitching wires, I'll quickly show you. You probably know what I'm talking about, but for those who don't. So yeah, here's a twitching wire. You just wrap it around the wire, the cyclone wire that is, through the post. There's 3 on here. That holds it to the post. So I've done that along this one. Then I went along and put insulators across all those posts out there. Those few there, so the insulators are just these plastic doohickeys. And that's because it'll be electrified with the top wire, like all our fences, or the majority of our fences anyway. The cattle will come into this area at some point. So yeah, that's pretty much done. Yeah, another fencing video. I know they're not as exciting as tractor work or sheep work or something a little bit more like that, but it's an important job that has to be done. Can't get away from it. It's probably one of the things that not a lot of farmers are probably showing out there on YouTube is fencing, but everybody's got to do it unless you're a big cropping farmer who just rips fences out. But yeah, we have to have a lot of fences obviously because we have animals. So yeah, it's not my favourite job. I think Dad likes it. Sort of is rewarding at the end once you've finished up and you can sort of look and you can see the fences all lined up, nice new fences. And hopefully this setup will make it a little bit easier when we're moving the cattle and the sheep as well. just with this sort of funnel shape that it makes here, where it goes into this laneway, and that'll make it a little bit easier for us to get into the yards. It won't make it any easier getting into the sheep yards though, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video anyway. Hopefully you learned something. Talked about a few different things, but most people out there, farmers in particular, will probably know what we're talking about, and nothing new or interesting to them. So yeah, at least it wasn't too bad of a day. It hasn't rained yet. The clouds are coming. So I think Dad's gonna finish the fencing over the next 2 days. He's got a couple more days off. Today is actually the AFL Grand Final day between Geelong and Sydney. Yeah, so I don't know who I want to win out of that one. If you're a Victorian, you probably don't want a New South Wales team to win, so no one wants Sydney to win. But also, if you're a Victorian, do you really want Geelong to win too? I mean, they're just as bad as Collingwood, except the supporters have more teeth. So I don't know. The best we can hope for is maybe a draw, and yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess. So anyway, we'll wrap the video up there. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. All right.